Glad to welcome you, dear friends. First of course, all my subscribers, all helpers, who really support me in my creativity. All the true friends who do not forget to like and write comments. To share my video. And of course, I'm glad to welcome new viewers. This is not another video I decided to release out of urgent necessity. Rather, for a certain number of those truly soulful, for those who is dear to me purely on a human level. For understanding what is happening right now and right before our eyes. I have said many times to everyone that Trump is a professional showman, and he never had the actual goal to make America great again, or to establish peace, make any deals, or give the American people prosperity and security guarantees. Trump is actually a showman who was put in place to be a destroyer. Naturally, he's not alone. There is a certain team which also has its own internal disagreements, internal conflicts. But he was placed in this position as an adherent of absolute order. For example, the situation of Tesla, which is not human at all, much higher than Trump's position. But Trump himself was given up and discarded as a powerful bomb into the political world swamp, not to fix it, heal it, or improve something, but to destroy it. I always say that we live in hell at the end of the apocalypse, and that there are no safe and comfortable places in hell, and no good news, and for those who accept hell as their dwelling place, it cannot be. If you want to stay in this hell, then that is your choice. But if not, then let your soul be free. Establish a balance between your mind and soul. Reject any form of lies and self-deception, and your life will instantly gain meaning and joy. When I say from any form of lies, it means any form whatsoever, even small lies for benevolence. It's all on the channel and presented in detail in dozens of videos. So answers to what to do are everywhere there. Balance requires purifying this world of trash. Now that balance has come, it demands a strict cleansing of this world from trash, including trash that shouts, "Where is your balance?" From the energetic waste in the form of terrible suffering accumulated on the subtle plane, from the waste of technological civilization which has turned it into a dump, and from biological waste, which includes most of the white population, unfortunately having lost their soul and mind, trading their soul for anything, starting with a hand-rolled cigarette, and from all the others who never had souls at all. And the phenomenon is purely non-biological, accidental. They were placed here by dark forces, or they, like some peoples and tribes, ended up here as a result of a catastrophe. I remind everyone that our world is a jumble of fragments, many reflections. Again, all this is detailed on the channel. But let's talk about the things happening in it here and now. Name me at least one real brilliant and advantageous deal for America that the showman from the White House actually made. I have already proven that nothing can be done there. That is, it is impossible to restore the economic America of the 70s. For a whole range of completely objective reasons, independent of anyone's desire. Just like it's impossible to free America from 22 to 25 million illegal immigrants. It's completely impossible and unrealistic, and it's foolish even to attempt it. For example,
It has passed.
The United States continues the hybrid gladiatorial slaughter in Ukraine, which he promised to end, if you remember, first within 24 hours. But in reality, there are no and cannot be any winners. More than 8,000 strict American military officers are in Ukraine today. Has anyone called them back? How the slaughter is going I explained in the Sunday video and many others. But the point is, the Sunday video explained how this slaughter is going. Again, this is not what it's about. Remember that Iran kept bending and bending, like Saddam Hussein once started to concede, proving that he had no chemical weapons, that he had no nuclear program. He truly had neither chemical weapons nor a nuclear program. But you remember what was happening there.
The current head of Iran's government has long been called the Iranian
Gorbachev. And Iran announced long ago that it is ready to conclude an agreement guaranteeing the absence of nuclear weapons. This was stated long ago by the country's foreign minister, Abbas Araghchi. We are ready for any agreement aimed at ensuring the absence of nuclear weapons in Iran, he said. Since, according to our principle, nuclear weapons are prohibited, said the minister. Well, the term nuclear weapons itself is quite questionable, but okay, that's not the point. Now we won't delve into technical problems. To leave. Iran stated, just like Saddam Hussein did at one time, that it is ready to accept any, including inspectors from the United States, and prove that it has no nuclear program. That is, it declared that it is ready to meet all of Trump's demands. And what did Trump say yesterday, do you remember? He no longer needs a deal with Iran. He needs something completely different. But what is meant by something completely different?
Needed.
Radical solution to the problem. Radical solution to the problem is the destruction of the Islamic Republic of Iran as it exists. Probably that's how the adherents of the light imagine it. Order. Let me remind you that the entire team participating in direct negotiations with the United States, negotiators from Iran, was killed by order from the United States. Remember, I have already said that Israel is a host, that is a dog by the name of the United States. But to the adherents of the theme of order, who want to establish absolute order, absolute order is the death of everything. In absolute order, there is no movement.
Flies, the fly does not fly, the mosquito does not buzz.
For the team of order devotees, all the dark ones, especially the Jews, are no longer needed at all by and large. They need to clean up the area.
From whom to clear them? From Jews in Israel or from
those who are in Iraq, in Tehran?
But they will, of course, do whatever they can to, so to speak, inflict as much damage as possible.
Iran.
2 or 3 years ago, I told you that all Abrahamic religions are subject to destruction. They have already been effectively abolished. And all Abrahamic religions have the same foundation, the Pentateuch of Moses or the Old Testament. I also said then that the Greater Israel project has been completely closed. They are now solving issues. There was no one there. And meanwhile, smart people all over the internet were saying that Israel was going to become the new transit route for oil and gas, and goods from India bypassing the Suez Canal. How many times must one hit the head? bump into a wall or a doorpost to come up with the idea that Israel could become, so to speak, almost as a new, so to speak, Indian-Chinese route directly to Europe. If someone had asked any of them, none of these ideologues would be able to answer a simple question. Then, why do economically and socially dead and long occupied by emigrants Europe need gas, oil, and goods that they cannot pay for? Because they have already destroyed their industry. Deindustrialization is practically complete. Since the euro exists only as long as it is accepted for payment in China, how long will China continue to supply goods to Europe? Just like that. Because selling goods for euros, supplying goods to Europe for euros, it doesn't matter if it's Brazilian pork, Argentinian beef, or Australian lamb, or Chinese consumer goods, or iPhones from China, or washing machines from China, no matter what. When they pay for it with euros, then this sale is for nothing. Because the euro is worth nothing, no one guarantees it, and everyone knows this well. The deceitful global market is dead. And we have had Chinese red clones for a long time now. That is young, healthy men, well, relatively men. They are practically genderless. Clones. Here they are clearly divided into platoons, companies, battalions, and regiments. In Russia and in the USA, in Europe and in Australia, it doesn't matter. Now I will tell you for the first time what the deployment in Russia is. I can tell you the rest later. The first, second, and third armies of the People's Army of China, with 75,000 bayonets each, have already been fully deployed into Russia. Also, 14 special police corps have been deployed, each containing 10 punitive battalions. I remind you that the strength of a Chinese punitive battalion is 480 bayonets.
Remember?
I already talked about the Red Chinese and the Chong battalions in Trotsky's army when a complete purge of the Empire's territory was conducted against anyone who interfered. It took 10 years then. Today it doesn't take 10 years. Today half a year is enough. Well, maybe 8 months. The same thing happened exactly the same way in the USA, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and North Africa. There's no point in talking about Europe at all. 2 or 3 years ago, I already told you about the existing Chinese battalions that are just waiting for orders. Either command will most likely follow, starting with an explosion, so to speak, involving migrants from Muslim countries who will start massacres in the streets, and then those same Macrons and Merkels will ask China for help, and China already has a division located on the territory of Europe. He doesn't need to transfer them. Weapons too, the equipment has been brought in for them. Everything is in their hands. They are fully armed. As I've long been saying, the Iron Dome in Israel is like fairy tales about the Firebird for fools. Who listen to me? When I say that all Palestinian movements were created in Israel and are led by Mossad, who listened to me? Many just brushed it off. That all leading countries in the Middle East, including the Saudis and Iran, are appointees of Israel was also dismissed by many as nonsense. Yet it is completely obvious if, so to speak, those in power use and keep their money in banks and all the banks belong to the Jews.
And all the banks are based in New York, for example, are mainly tied there, and some number in Europe.
But still, European banks still have Spanish dollar accounts and essentially their main branches, again, in the United States.
If you take the ideology in Qatar or Saudi Arabia and compare with reality, what they actually do to these rulers in the fields of finance, consumption, and so on, and it is all obvious. It's funny, but I would like to remind everyone that Saudi Arabia, which even Israel does not have on the map, purchased the Iron Dome system due to heavy advertising in Israel, for which a few years, 2 or 3 years ago, the Houthis were severely punished.
Now, having gained good experience in Ukraine,
some parts of Israeli demolition experts who detonated there and detonated in Odessa. But it was not only them who detonated, but everyone who wanted to, just like in Russia. Part of them worked in Russia. About half of the demolition experts from Israel worked and are working in Russia, and the other half in Ukraine.
In other words, it's done simply. They drive up, open a hatch near the house, throw.
The explosive, the package there, let's say, detonates 10 minutes after they leave. They close the hatch, and that's it. The building is without heating, without electricity, without sewage. Then the repair crews arrive, and you understand what that repair turns into.
The main thing.
These fighters don't care where to bomb, whether in Haifa or in Odessa. The main thing is that the people in Odessa believe that it's Putin bombing, and the people in Tel Aviv believe that it's Iran bombing. Here came a funny news from Canada. The G7 summit, which took place in Canada on the 16th to 17th of June, although its opening was initially planned for the 15th of June, 7 countries participated in the event: Germany, the United States, Canada, the United Kingdom, France, Italy, Japan, as well as representatives of the European Union and invited partner countries. Here, the G7, right?
Well, all right.
American leader Donald Trump appeared, showed off, gave a speech. They tried to shut him up there, and he already left the summit early, returning to Washington to finally and permanently resolve the issue with Israel and Iran. I emphasize once again, understand this exactly as it is. Trump's task is the destruction of the market, the destruction of the global financial system, completely total, the destruction of cooperation between countries at any level, the destruction of global trade at any level, the destruction of the EU, and the destruction of the USA itself, down to the foundation. All the so-called experts have written so much nonsense in the last 2 weeks that it has become thoroughly disgusting. Here's what idiots are writing everywhere. If we look at what idiots are writing, the main target of the Israeli Operation Rising Lion was Iran's nuclear infrastructure. Military nuclear physicists were killed. There are signs that the Israeli Air Force blew up controlled aerial bombs targeted several Iranian nuclear sites, including underground ones. New damage at the Iranian fuel enrichment plant, Natanz, since the attack on the 13th of June, which destroyed the underground and above-ground parts of the complex. This was reported by the Director General of the International Atomic Energy Agency, Rafael Grossi, who will tell you anything he is instructed to report while addressing the organization's Board of Governors. Energetic infrastructure at the site, including power plants, the main energy supplier of the site, as well as emergency power infrastructure and backup generators, were destroyed that day as a result of
Blows, no signs of physical attack on the underground part of the plant where the main part of the experimental enrichment facility is located. Fuel and the main fuel enrichment facility, according to Grossi, was not found. Interesting how they detected it. Just look at what's written above. It's complete nonsense. Everything above is destroyed, but below, they say nothing is damaged. No, not at all. He personally went down there like a mole, drilled tunnels, climbed in and checked. However, with the addition, you see, to slip away just in case. That power loss in the cascade hall could have damaged the centrifuges there. Here, take a map, friends, and look for yourselves. Iran borders Turkey, Iraq, one step to Kuwait, a negligible distance by sea to Qatar, Bahrain, the United Arab Emirates. The Emirates, Oman, then come Pakistan, Afghanistan, Turkmenistan, the Caspian Sea, then overland. On the Caspian Sea, remember that Russia also borders it. That land borders with Azerbaijan and Armenia. Simple question. Do you remember Chernobyl, what was happening in the world then? And yet we are assured that the Chernobyl accident was simply the depressurization of one unit. Now, from the point of view of Azerbaijan is oil and gas. Turkmenistan is oil and gas, and much more. For example, Turkmen cotton, without which the world would suffer greatly. Cotton and textiles are also in Pakistan, which, as we are assured, also has nuclear weapons. All the countries of the Persian Gulf are suppliers of oil and gas. By the way, how do the idiots feel who promoted investments in Dubai? No one has come to punish them for their advertising yet. Iraq is also oil and gas, and Turkey is a NATO member and the gateway to Europe. By the way, it will be good in Syria for Israel itself. After all, the distance is negligible from Israel, well, about 1,000 kilometers compared to the border. So who can explain to me why? Why are you burning your neighbor's barn?
If your house is definitely going to burn down.
If you are the ones, only not. Those who are bombing do not have a simple and sole task: to destroy this entire region and plunge it into complete chaos. That's normal. And at the same time, all of humanity into a total ecological and energy catastrophe. Take another look at the map and think for yourself. However, the report that 2 reactors have already exploded is 100% a lie. On the main Patreon channel, I provided a picture of what will happen if an Armageddon of local origin starts in Iran. Bad for the hamsters is another thing. What could happen those at the top, and there are no living intelligent beings there? Only robots and AI.
That is the other thing up above they can do.
So, they can strike Iran and most likely Israel simultaneously from orbit, and then total chaos will begin. Judging by numerous comments, people simply do not hear and do not want to hear what I am persistently trying to convey to them. Of course, according to the first rule of the wizard, people hate the truth and those who deliver it to them. No, one insane person even claimed that I started supporting Trump. I have an ongoing test here of humanity and the presence of a soul. Not everyone is able to pass it. Many will fail because they cannot resist delusion and refuse lies. Here's a classic example. Igor writes, "She was glad when there were diamonds in the pile of barren rock. Now it's only glass, and even that is rare. The rock smells too." This is not meant to offend. It's my healthy criticism, writes Igor. Do you think he is such an idiot to consider direct insults to the author as healthy criticism? In reality, it's simple. The information I voice pains him so much that he begins to hate me. This makes me very happy. It is the highest evaluation of my work and a confirmation that I am not making videos in vain. There are many true ones like this. They save from perishing at the edge of the abyss, while causing others great pain, of course. And this means that they still have a beaten and wounded soul. Perhaps this is the last gasp of Igor's wounded soul. I always say that I always heard such people. Maybe 1 out of 1,000 will wake up from the delusion and reject the lie, and that is already good. Tomorrow, friends, I will give a full picture of where we have fallen and why the real ones shouldn't fly into the abyss of oblivion with thoughtless humanity. Trump Pam flew to Washington, showed the middle finger to Lenka. But the thing is, he is a protege of artificial intelligence. If they strike Tehran up there, that could happen literally any moment now, then everyone will be caught. Finally, the showman mocked beautiful Bella and Emmanuel, saying that she is a silly blonde and always is mistaken. I wish everyone strength of mind and body. Friends, down below in the description under the video, as always, you will find all the information you need, including information on how you can support my work. This information is written below in the description under the video for you, not for me. So see you tomorrow. That is, the entire channel's operation schedule has completely changed because of this. Well, it's fine. We will work